Hello, for the fourth week in Ordinary Time, using the first reading, Deuteronomy, chapter 18, verses 15 to 20, and the Gospel, Mark 1, 21 to 28. And I like to call this something like Jesus reflected in you and me and Pope Francis. Well, first of all, in that first reading, Moses, he talks to the people and says that God will send or raise up another prophet like himself, and that God will put his words into his mouth, and he shall tell them all what God wants and commands him to say. Moses says that 1250 BC or thereabouts. Moses, great leader in Jewish history. And boom, Jesus is on the scene over 1200 years later. He comes upon the scene and he begins his public ministry here in Mark, chapter 1. He goes into the synagogue and starts teaching or preaching or instructing in what God has told him to say. He taught the people. He taught and made disciples. He asked some of his disciples to be his apostles. And the amazing thing is, from the impression of the people, that this man taught with authority, and not like the scribes, who were the educated, who had the certificate or whatever they had to prove that they were educated. I really don't know too much about unclean spirits or evil spirits or demons. But in Mark's Gospel, this particular evil spirit says it the way Mark says this is what Jesus is all about. And in this individual, there in the synagogue, he screams out, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." And Jesus responds and says, "Quiet, come out of him." And the man goes into convulsions and cries out loudly, and he throws himself down or whatever, and then is cured of these evil spirits, whatever that means. What is this? The people said. This man, Jesus, is not a formal rabbi, an educated teacher rabbi. This man speaks with a new teaching or a new authority. This Jesus is what Moses was talking about 1200 years ago with the no formal training, but he was speaking the mind of his Father. He was speaking the mind of God. He was speaking and trying to show his way, or the way that God told him to teach these people that he was beginning to come into contact. And what an influence he has had with those disciples, those apostles, those women, those followers of him during his year or two of public life ministry. And those few people today or in the billions of followers of Jesus Christ. He was not the expert in the law like the Pharisees were at his time. He was not, I think, like the experts of our time, some of our clergy or some of the curia. But he just spoke his way. What he did, what he invites us through modeling what to do. That's Jesus for me. And sometimes a person comes along that you admire, that you think he does a good job of being like Jesus. Well, you and I are called to be like Jesus. And I think it is our Pope at the moment. This past Monday I gave a talk at Pax Christi on the Pope and sort of 5 ways of his outlook. But at the very bottom of the page, I didn't even talk about this, but there was 5 rules, or 10 rules, for a happier life. Listen to these 10 rules for a happier life that Pope Francis gave to an Argentine newspaper. And just ask yourself, is this what Jesus was like? Is this really what our Pope is like? And is this really what I am like? They're just quick statements. I'll try to read them slowly. 1. Live and let live, be tolerant of others, and show mercy. 3 simple things. Live and let live. Be tolerant, show mercy. Is Jesus that? Am I that? 2. Be giving of oneself to others. Not just me, myself, and I. Not just being concerned about me, but be primarily concerned about others. 3. Proceed calmly in life and take time to enjoy life. Life is just not terrible. Life is just not evil. The world is not just all evil. And people aren't just stupid and all evil. Take time to enjoy life. 4. Have a healthy sense of leisure. Find something better than TV. Well, I'm sure Jesus didn't say find something better than TV. But you know what the Pope means. There's more to life than getting on an iPhone or a TV or just unto myself. There's more. There's more. 5. Make Sundays like holidays. Enjoy God's day. Oh God, I gotta go to church. Didn't go to church, feel guilty. Make Sunday much more than that. Like a holiday. Like God's day. 6. Create dignified jobs, especially for the young. We hear this, jobs, jobs, jobs. What our government is doing or not doing. Create jobs, dignified jobs, especially for the young. 7. Respect and take care of God's creation. I think the Pope's going to write an encyclical on the environment. It's coming out this summer, I believe. And how many people are talking about the environment in Kentucky and the hills and the waste? Respect the environment. 8. Stop being negative. You know, you like being with a person where everybody else is wrong and then they just condemn everybody else and just their attitude toward life is just sourpuss or negative or condemn. always condemning, complaining, negating. Well, if everybody's that bad, well then you must be pretty good. If you consider everybody else so bad, well then you must be smart and pretty good. It doesn't work that way. 9. Don't try to convert people. Respect them and their beliefs. The church grows by attraction. Don't change everybody. Don't get married and change your mate. Or your parents. My child, has to be like this. Make them be fully alive, fully human, or at least try to make that happen. And then finally, 10, work for peace, which is proactive and dynamic. All you have to do is ask your question, do you think the world needs peace? Absolutely. Francis is a hero for me, and I don't have too many, I guess, or most of all mine have been blown and up in the past, or maybe not lived up to expectations. But he has sort of been a hero in my latter days. Is he a hero in your present days? Or who is? Well, the thing is, all of us are called to reflect Jesus. And I think Francis does. And I hope you think he does too, but more important, do you try to reflect Jesus in your everyday life? In closing, there was a statement in maybe the same newspaper, this Italian newspaper, and they said that Francis, he is a miracle of humility in the age of vanity. A miracle of humility in the age of vanity. Have a good day.